The story of Perch.com, another domain story, another lesson and insights into domain names, big domain names, one-word domain names. Hey, Chris Zuiker with Media Options. We help companies to acquire the raw, unfiltered version of the brand name. That means domain acquisitions. And broken some of the best domains on the planet, like Bloom.com, Quilt.com, Trunk.com, Diamond.com. A lot of good ones. Check it out, MediaOptions.com. So the story today is about Perch.com. It's not a new story. It's back in August 1st, 2018. This is Names Pros. Looking at some interviews here with James Isles again. And he got a couple sentences from the owner on Perch.com. It's when they had acquired Perch.com. Now, at the time, they only raised $30 million. Since then, they've gone on to raise another $200 million. So they have $250 million they've raised. Okay. But back then, they just raised $30 million. They're just getting started. They're just on their journey to scale. And I think there's a couple interesting points here that we can learn from, especially in the domain community, domain investors. And if you are a brand looking to acquire a domain name and you're saying, hey, why do I need to acquire this? Like, what's the reason? What's the reason I need to think about acquiring my domain name? It's not important. My SEO person says it's not important. My branding agency says it's not important. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. That's not true. And when you look at brands, when you look at founders of companies that have started serial entrepreneurs, they understand that domain names impact a brand in 7 different ways. I call it the 7 dimensions to a domain name. The first one is global positioning. It's industry positioning. It's marketing. It's branding. It's SEO. It's the ability to scale. It is email security, and it's marketing. Should be 7. In this case, it was the interaction with trust. And he said, we definitely considered a number of names for our business. We ultimately landed on Perch because we felt it was friendly, approachable, and connotated the idea of home. We also love that it's short and worked well in the context of our visual identity we're developing for our brand. Now, this is a case where it wasn't a direct tie-in to homes. They actually sell homes. I'm going to read you the definition here as far as what they sell. They help people to buy and to acquire homes. Say goodbye to home selling stress. Perch is the easiest way to build and sell on your timeline. So, cool concept, cool company. They raised a lot of money, but they did it because, first of all, they chose this brand. They said, hey, we want to go with Perch. Now, that being said, they said that we started with PerchHomes.com and then moved to Perch.com when we had the opportunity to get the domain. Ultimately, your website domain is a big part of your brand, particularly in the B2C company. This is not primarily app-based. Now, I've already shown that that's not true, okay? App-based businesses actually need a domain name just as much as a website. However, he said, at Perch, we're asking customers to try a new solution for the biggest financial transaction they'll make in their life. As a new brand, we think the .com domain gives a boost in trust from a consumer who may not have heard about Perch.com yet, or Perch yet. So, trust comes back to the idea of trust, the idea of leadership, the idea of this of positioning. Trust plays a big part. And why is that? Because you're calling yourself one thing, and yet, at the time they were PerchHome.co. Okay, reminds me a lot of the teamwork PM.net. When you rebranded Teamwork, you bought that for $650,000 and saw like a hockey stick-like growth. Great story. If you have not heard it, check out teamwork.com. But it reminds me a lot of that. It reminds me a lot of the fact that just there's this trust and this congruity when you make it effortless for your brand. Now, they went on to raise another $200 million to $250 million that they've raised. Now, what I want to pay attention to is a couple of things. That one is that there are a lot of companies that had a interest in Perch. So they actually were branded Perch. So I'm just going on the Crunchbase here. Perch Interactive raised $3.2 million. Perch Security raised $9 million. Perch.co raised $1.4 million. Perch Baby, they've raised $200,000. And there's BluePerch.co raised $25,000. The list goes on and on. There's quite a few different companies that have an interest in Perch. But guess what? Only one will own it. Perch.com owns it. And so what happens is that, and I really don't know the whole backstory whether these companies had the opportunity to buy Perch or not, but what happens in this journey, if you look at the journey of a startup, is that they start off with this, in hustle mode and in creation mode, and they haven't like founded quite a few companies on the funding and the backing for their startup. They end up going with like a perchhome.co, okay, just to get out there to see if their concept is good, see if they can gain traction. Maybe they're using direct response marketing, so it kind of works. But as they go along, there's this transition that they have where they realize that, hey, like, they see these other brands that are Perch that are out there, like, okay, it's okay, it doesn't matter because like we're just getting started. We don't have the funding and the capital yet. But there comes a time when they realize that it's not okay. Like, we need to own our brand. Like, we're going big, we're going global, we're going national. We're no longer just the regional. In this instance, PerchHomes.co started in San Antonio. I think that's what he said. And so they realized that they weren't just going to be San Antonio, Texas. And they started scaling. When they started scaling, they realized, hey, it's not okay. It's not okay for other brands to be out there with Perch. Like, that's who we're calling ourselves. We need to create the simplicity and the clarity and build the trust in the journey for our customers, in the journey for our brand. At that point, to realize, hey, we got to buy that domain name. So a couple of things to consider. Consider the possibility that your domain name is not going to be around forever. These other companies that call themselves Perch.co, they have raised $1.4 million. PerchSecurity.com raised $9 million. Now, at the time, they may have thought, hey, we don't need it. It's okay. Like, we'll pass on that brand. Well, guess what? Now it's gone. They'll never have the opportunity. They passed on their domain name. They passed on this thing they call themselves, and they'll forever have to be in this other position. Now, the confusion comes in the global positioning, because global positioning is where, if you think of a brand, it's where there's multiple brands that are out there. Now, will there be a time in interaction where Perch Security there's ads for Perch.com? Yeah, probably. There at some point there's going to be this interaction, this overlap. And there's the confusion when so if you rank all these together, you rank Perch.com, Perch.co, Perch Security, Perch Interactive, you put them all together and you say, hey, and you come to a consumer list and say, hey, choose the one that looks like they are the leaders. Choose the one that is effortless. Choose the one that creates more trust. Well, they're going to go to Perch.com. Okay, digression going long here. That's the story today, is this element of trust that a domain name brings. Perch.com is a great story. They went on to raise money. Did it have an impact? I would think it did have an impact in them raising another $200 million because they doubled down on owning their brand, owning their messaging, and owning their domain name with Perch.com. Hey, if you haven't already done it, go and check out my other stories. I do a podcast, chriszuiker.com/podcast. Check it out. Do a daily podcast with more stories in the domain world. Check it out. Also, going over to MediaOps.com, check out the domains we're brokering. If you're looking for a domain name, reach out to me if you have any questions and if you need any help in acquiring a domain name.